Hello, everyone. Welcome to annual members meeting AMM today. Thank you, everyone, for coming down, and also welcome to everyone watching this elsewhere as well. Just a bit of general housekeeping, first of all. If you guys ever need a toilet at any point, please go out the back of the doors over there. The toilets are just on the left, and we're not expecting a fire drill today. But if the alarm does sound, then please exit through the nearest fire door and muster outside the library by Ravelin Park. 1 second. There we go. So the purpose of AMM today is to approve how the union spends its money, get progress updates from the elected officers, and find out more about the future direction of your union. Our members, you guys, the students, also will have the ability to input by voting and asking questions throughout the day. I'm sure if you guys do want to have a look at the agenda for today, you should have it on you. If not, then you can go on upsu.net/AMM and have a look at it there. Also, welcome to those watching online as well to the AMM, and you guys will be able to vote online via the web link using our form. This is going to be posted in the comments section, and it's going to be repeatedly posted throughout the day as well. You'll be able to submit all of your votes to the nearest staff member after the second item of voting. Got Natalie at the back there. However, we do recommend that you guys do listen to the debates to be able to make an informed choice on your voting slip. You guys will also be able to submit emergency motions. These forms are going to be available from the staff at the front and should be returned there as well. So these can be proposed for changes to the agenda order, or if the room is about to lose quorum, you can suggest the most appropriate location for the vote to be held. And also a vote of no confidence in the chair. When an emergency motion is submitted, the title of the motion will be read out, and those in the room will be asked if they wish to hear the emergency motion. The proposer will be called onto stage and will have a minute to present their case, and then somebody can come up and present the alternative argument. Emergency motions are only available to you guys in the room, so apologies to all those watching from elsewhere. There will be a break in just over an hour when we're going to have some pizza served, and you guys, if you need to look at any of the documentation at all for AMM today, then again, upsu.net/AMM, all the motions and everything is on there for you guys to look at in all the documentation. For all of you course reps as well here today, at the end of the day, we are going to be giving out the course rep hoodies, so that will be available just from the front inside there, so please do stay till the end to get your hoodie. So we're going to start a quick test vote for those voting at home. So all of those at home, you're going to be able to have an opportunity to test our voting platforms. The question that's being posed is, which came first, the chicken or the egg? So please do vote now and make sure you understand the voting system. In the meantime, for those people paper voting, please continue to read through the documentation given to you. And for electronic voters, you guys will be able to vote for items at any time. Now moving on to agenda item number 2, matters arising. Firstly, are there any issues from the floor that need addressing before the meeting can commence fully from anyone? Yep, at the back. Have we got a microphone? No mic? Just 1 sec for the mic to get to you.
If the camera is pointing towards the speaker, then the people watching online won't be able to see the information on the screen.
Sorry, the camera's pointing where?
To the speaker.
To me. I think everything is available online, so hopefully everyone that's voting electronically will be able to see all the agenda and everything. This is basically, it's just a repeat of what's already online, if I'm right. Yeah? So anyone watching online should be able to see it all on the website anyway. They won't need the things. Everything okay? All good? Brilliant. So does everyone understand, got one at the front here as well. Wait, 1 sec, can we just make sure everyone can hear?
I'm just looking at the website now,
yeah.
Looking at the AMM website. How do you vote on it?
Tech people?
AMM voting.
upsu.net/AMM voting, and you should be able to vote on there. Right, so does everyone understand all the voting, and is the agenda all clear? Is there any other questions from the floor at all? No? Great. We'll move on to item number 3, which is the approval of the 2017 AMM minutes. This item is to approve the previous minutes from AMM 2017. This is the first item on the AMM agenda. I do encourage you guys to look at all the documentation online to make sure you're making an informed decision. So please do vote now on your sheets, or if you're online, vote online as well. It's either approve or disapprove for the AMM minutes. We're going to be having the results at the end of the meeting today. Moving on to item 4, 4.1, we will have our financial reports from the Students' Union. So these are we're approving these items on the basis of transparency and of the information. So the union are answering any questions and taking your feedback on all of this. The documentation has been on the website for students to view for the past 3 weeks now. If you haven't seen it yet, please do go online and have a look now. However, I think we're having Violet, our president, presenting the financial report. So please welcome Violet to the stage. Yes, now.
Hello. Hello, everyone. So hopefully you've had a chance to have a look through the financial reports closely. So what I'll do is I'll talk through some of the highlights. So the document is a breakdown of how UPSU receives and spends its money, and it's a legal necessity that we share these documents with you and that they are approved annually. So we would welcome you to vote and approve these financial reports. If you wish to have a look at them, they're available on the AMM webpage. So some of the highlights are that, so for UPSU, which is our charity, our income of the year totaled £2,116,084, which was a decrease of £3,079 from 2017. However, we also spent considerably less on our charitable activities this year, only spending £1,928,929. This was also a big decrease in spending from the year before, in which we spent £2,369,500. The primary achievement for the union for the year 2017-2018 was the completion and early implementation of our new primary purpose, which is listening to and acting on the student's voice. Our new strategy, which is available at upsus.net/strategy, and our new values. So we aim to be pioneering, enriching, and inclusive. We're operating as we should, and it's business as normal. We're delivering quality outcomes for University of Portsmouth students, and out of our 34 key performance indicators, we are exceeding 23 of them. And that's across a range of representation, welfare, and development objectives. We get part of our money through our annual block grant from the university, and this makes up the bulk of our yearly income. So this year, that grant totaled £1,182,815, which was actually an increase of £32,000 from last year. A big chunk of our budget, mainly £720,000, is spent on staffing. The union employed approximately 38 people, and this was an increase from 32 from the previous year, and that's also because we've had the organisational restructure. So that's 38 permanent members of staff and a further 40 occasional staff to help with our delivery and continuous improvement and management of our activities. Our support costs, the key areas where we help students are also of some interest. So this year we have spent a total of £347,000 on development, £363,000 on representation, and £342,000 on welfare, including our advice service and other general welfare provision for our members. We've also spent an additional £138,000 on other elements of our charitable activities. So That's the charity's accounts. We also have the PSUT reports, which is our trading arm. We've had a turnover this year of £487,578. This was a decrease of 28,000 from 2017. So from this turnover, PSUD spend 212,000 on sales and administration costs, and a further 119,000 on management charges. After this expenditure, 156,000 was left over, and this was paid back into the UPSU charity account. And this was actually an increase on last year's repayment of 7,522, which is great to hear. And that's it from the PSUP reports as well. Yes, that's from me. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Violet. So firstly, are there any questions from the floor at all about our financial reports, either that be through the charity, UPSU, or our trading arm, PSUT? No, brilliant. So if you guys want to vote on items 4.1 and 4.2 on your voting sheet, or if you're at home, please vote online as well, either to approve or disapprove the financial reports. Now, before we move on to item number 5, I will be standing down as chair just for this item and handing over to Matthew Harmon. Yeah.
Hello, thank you very much, George. This item is going to be about the NUS affiliation in light of the recent developments with the state of the NUS finances, basically. So essentially, in November 2016, the University of Portsmouth students resolved via a referendum, I believe, that we should still remain affiliated with the NUS until July of 2018. In November, there was some news from the NUS, and it essentially has reached crisis point in terms of its finances. There's £3 million in-year debt. However, the NUS do believe that the reform is achievable, and approximately 50% of their board has now been taken over by KPMG, the large accounting firm, with aims to actually turn around their financial situation. They have acknowledged that there are certain structural changes as well to be made. And essentially, we are here today as part of this topic to vote whether to still stand with the NUS and basically see it through until August 2020, or to raise a referendum to basically ask that we leave, essentially, the NUS. In either case, students may want to still remain as part of the NUS, but obviously there are risks to consider, of which we'll be hopefully considering today. You should have picked up the information sheet on the way in, and that basically highlights those points that I've just read out. I would like to invite, first of all, if anybody would like to argue or speak in favour of remaining part of the NUS. Other than that, we have got a person that is looking, George, to speak against affiliation. So if there is anybody that would like to speak in favour or against, then by all means we have the microphone. Just raise your hand. I will take it that that's nobody. So George, when you're ready.
Just as a point of clarity before I start, NUS has not been taken over by KPMG. It's 50% of their turnaround board is comprised of professionals, including KPMG, if I'm right. Just looking at, no? Right. Okay, so KPMG are advising the external 50% of the turnaround board that NUS have formed. Just as a point of clarity. Now, just to move on to my against speech. So hello everyone, thanks for coming along today to vote on this. My name is George Pykov. I am the Vice President of Education and Democracy, and I am glad to be speaking on behalf of the entire sabbatical officer team today and asking you to reject this motion. First things first, I just want to reassure you all that a decision to reject this item today will not automatically disaffiliate Portsmouth SU from the NUS, but rather trigger a referendum on the matter in Teaching Block 2. In the past, this referendum would take place year on year. However, this was changed to occur every 3 years, meaning that, as it currently stands, the next NUS referendum will be taking place next November. However, we believe that a referendum is required now. As you would have all seen by the preface delivered for the speech and the handouts that you guys have received, the current NUS is a completely different kettle of fish to the NUS that Portsmouth students voted to remain affiliated with 2 years ago. The extraordinary circumstances that we find ourselves in is the exact reason why we believe that another referendum on our affiliation is required now. The NUS itself has admitted it is in existential crisis, with the potential of it folding as early as April next year. Saying that its successes over the past few years have been limited would be an understatement. It failed students twice on tuition fees. It failed to sort out the rise of anti-Semitism within its own ranks. It failed to keep order at its own national conference. And it even failed to launch its successor to NUS Extra, Totem, which nationally has seen a 40% loss in sales. And no wonder the NUS's incompetencies know no bounds. They can't even organise themselves. I'm sure you have all seen the news that it currently faces a bankruptcy crisis, with its deficit jumping from £1.3 million in 2016 to £3.6 million in 2017. The organisation is frantically making cuts to its staff and the services it offers. And as a union, we've already seen very little of either whilst they have been at full capacity. And so further cuts would make the organisation entirely obsolete to our functioning as a union. Time and time again, the NUS have failed to support both its students and its membership of student unions up and down the country. We pay an affiliation fee of just over £40,000 every year, and as sabbatical officers, we have seen no support for our campaigns or for your union. Apart from organising a few shambolic training days which we have had to pay extra for, as apparently these aren't covered in our membership fee, we have seen minimal interest from the NUS in issues affecting Portsmouth students. They seem to care more about international conflicts that do not affect the student population in any way, rather than solving issues on their doorstep. Interestingly, the times when NUS have been most visible during our tenure have been when their full-time officers attacked a fellow student union all over social media and bullied students out of running for that union position. Of course, those officers responsible were met with a sigh of indifference by NUS. No suspensions, no apology, not even a slap on the wrist. It's no wonder that today Plymouth Student Union decided to disaffiliate. The NUS is a joke of an organisation, and myself and your sabbatical officer team believes that our £40,000 could be spent better in Portsmouth, funding our activities, clubs and student groups, rather than being shoveled down the A3 to a fiscally irresponsible and frankly irrelevant organisation. I think that in light of the information provided to you, the ultimate question is, do you trust the NUS? For me, an organisation that jeopardises the viability of its members is not one to be trusted. To wrap up, please do remember that a vote against this motion today is not necessarily a vote against the NUS, but rather a vote to give students a say on your student union's continued affiliation in light of the extreme change of circumstance that we find ourselves in. I urge you to vote against this motion. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much, George, for that speech. I would just like to put it out to the floor and just basically ask if there is anybody that wants to comment on anything that's regarding the NUS, basically, in favour or against. Yeah, we have back there we have a gentleman. She's just standing up in the middle. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So it was you, yeah, that said that. I just have a couple of questions. Where do you do your shopping generally? Tesco? Do you ever go to the Co-op sometimes? Do you have an NUS card yourself? How many people here have an NUS card? Just raise your hands. So most people here have an NUS card, and please raise your hands again. How many people use the 10% discount at the cooperative? See, a large number of you. See, that's one of the reasons why I personally agree with the NUS plans and why I wouldn't, obviously, as you say, because I make use of that. How many people here have a coach card with National Express? Okay, and how many people use the NUS cards with Megabus? No? Okay, just me again. All right. The main reason that I believe that we should keep the NUS and we should still affiliate with them is because I personally enjoy making use of them. Many people do as well. It's something that I'm actually very passionate about. So when I just turned up and I heard all this, I was like, oh, okay, what's going on? But listening to the points you made, I do agree with some of what you said. It's quite disgraceful what's going on with the students. But with some of the other benefits that us students have, I think that that's a main reason why we should still affiliate with them. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do we have any responses to George? By all means, go ahead. Yeah, it's all right.
Just quickly, if we do decide to disaffiliate this year, it won't be active until next year, first of all. Secondly, if you've already bought your Totem card or the NUS Extra card for 2 or 3 years, that will still be active for you guys for those 3 years. I think that I've not got an NUS card, and I think it's pretty much obsolete at this stage. Uni days offer more discounts, better discounts for free. So I'm more than happy to carry on using uni days rather than buying an NUS card. But yeah, just to respond to that point. Back to you, Matt.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment at all? We have one last, or a couple of, how much more time do we have actually? Yes, we have 3 or 4.
Hello, I just have a quick question. Obviously, a lot of people like to talk about the NUS discounts and things, but what sort of other losses would we see through the union that would impact the union members? What sort of loss of services potentially would we see in the union?
George, would you like to answer that at all? Or?
Would like someone a bit more impartial, potentially. But services-wise, I'm not 100% exactly what we'd lose, apart from the training days that sabbatical officers go on, which we have to pay for separately outside our affiliation fee. Other services, I guess, really the only thing that we've seen from the NUS this year has been networking opportunities through these training days. But apart from that, and I think I can speak on behalf of all the sabbatical officer team, we've seen no support from NUS vice presidents, no support in services from the NUS to the union. But I don't think we'd lose anything major that I can think of, really, at this stage, apart from the discount card. Okay. If the referendum is triggered, like I said, this motion today isn't to vote against the NUS or for disaffiliating. This is to vote in favour of triggering a referendum to give students a say on this. When the referendum will be happening in Teaching Block 2, so that will give us plenty of time to pump out information, some more information on what things we could lose, what things we could gain, how much we'll be saving, how much we'll be losing. That will be all made clear in the run-up to the referendum. So again, I just want to stress that point, that this vote isn't to disaffiliate, but this vote is just to trigger a referendum to decide whether we disaffiliate or not.
Have you looked at what happens with other universities who have already disaffiliated? Because I know that some universities have actually found that it's caused a little bit of chaos within them. So have you actually looked into what would happen?
Ladies, would you mind standing up for us, please? Yeah, go ahead.
So as far as I'm aware, when we went to Surrey Union, their sabbatical officers and all their staff said that they're much happier disaffiliated. The ones that didn't say that they were happier said that they've seen next to no difference whatsoever. Southampton as well, we see them quite often. They also don't seem to have a problem with being disaffiliated at all. Again, like I said, the only things that these unions seem like they miss out on is those networking opportunities with other sabbatical officers. But otherwise, from a student point of view, they don't have any concerns about being disaffiliated.
That may be true for the actual union people working within the union, but I know at Surrey the students feel quite differently on that.
They did have a referendum to disaffiliate.
They did, but since then the students have definitely seen problems.
Okay. I can't comment on the exact situation at Surrey. That's a fair point, though. Thank you.
I Unfortunately, we are going to have to move on. We are going to have to move on. So, will there be any other opportunities to voice at all, or no? We obviously do have the vote, so you should have the paperwork or the ballot paper to vote on. So hand that in at the end. Also, you can vote online for those that are watching over the internet. Thank you very much. George? Thank you.
Right, so moving on to item number 6, we've got our policy lapse discussion. So this is our next agenda item. The policy lapse looks at items that you guys have submitted to have your say to AMM or UAB in the calendar year 2017, last year. They lapsed. So our first motion is the, one second, I do apologise, the anti-FGM stance. If you guys want to read the full motion, then please do go and have a look at it. The anti-FGM stance, just the resolves part of the motion. If this is passed, your union will resolve for the President to write a letter to local MPs asking for them to push for more to be done surrounding the issue of FGM, and for a model letter to be made available to students to also send to local MPs to push this agenda. Number 2, for UPSU to show support for any further anti-FGM legislation that passes through UK Parliament. And number 3, for your VP Welfare and Community, Sophie, to work with the University of Portsmouth Feminism to promote the issue of FGM and provide information to where support can be found for victims. So we'll open this up to the floor. Obviously, we'll have another speaker for and against again, if anyone does wish to speak either for or against this motion. So have we got anyone that wishes to speak in favour, first of all? Yep, one person there. Should we have them up?
I know quite a lot about this because I've worked with people who have been affected by it. I worked at a charity a few years ago through my college, and though it's not a very common thing here, or we don't think of it a very common thing here, it affects thousands and thousands and thousands of women and girls before they're even the age of 13. It's something that's absolutely horrific that happens to them, and it also happens to girls our age who are at university or who have moved away from home, and they go to the wrong place, get picked up by the wrong person, and the next thing they know they're in a sex trafficking ring with female genital mutilation. It ruins their lives, and even when they are rescued, they don't know how to cope. They don't have anyone to help them, and in many ways it's much more of a violation and much more destroying than even being raped. And the psychological trauma that these women go through, even while being passed around country after country, being bought, is nothing compared to the pain that they feel their entire lives because of this. Though it may not affect us now, writing a letter to an MP, just pushing anything, every person needs a voice, and these girls don't have voices for themselves, so really writing a letter is 15 minutes of our time to help prevent this ever happening to someone, whether they're 13 or 37. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you very much for that. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? No? So once again, if you guys want to vote on your sheets, all of those voting at home, please vote online on the anti-FGM motion. So we'll move on to item number 2 of our policy lapse, which is the free education motion. So the resolutions here are 2. Number 1, to support the idea of free education for all through taxation, as it will benefit all in society and future generations. And number 2, the members of Student Council should help promote the campaign for free education. Would anyone like to speak in favour of this motion? Please raise your hand. No? Okay. Anyone want to speak against this motion? No? Okay. Same process. If you guys want to vote on your voting sheets now, or if you're voting online, please vote online there as well. If these motions, basically if you're voting for, this policy lapse will continue for another year. If you're voting against, and the vote does come through against, then UPSU will reject these policies for the next year. We're just going to jump into our sabbatical officer reports. There is a video that's going to be played now, I believe. that will outline a report from each of your sabbatical officers, and you guys have an opportunity to pose some questions to all of us at the end.
Hi, I'm Violet, your president. So far, I've been working on my manifesto points as well as a few other projects. My first manifesto point promised to lobby the university on recorded lectures. Myself and Charlotte are both on the lecture capture working group. At the moment, we are finalising the surveys that will go out to students and staff, which will help us shape the way that lecture capture looks once it's implemented. Please keep a lookout for them in the next few weeks. Secondly, I wanted to lobby the university for more flexibility and autonomy to students over their timetables. And so George and I have formed a working group together with the university looking at ways in which the current way that timetabling works can be improved. Thirdly, I was also involved in working with the university to implement the new bus route which goes through Southsea. This bus route added more stops and allowed students in that area to get to university safely. My final manifesto point pledged microwave access to students. I'm really happy to say that there is now a microwave in the Waterhole Bar, which is on the ground floor of the Student Union building, which is available for all students to use. Just please remember to use it responsibly and keep it clean. When I first came into position, one of the things I noticed that the furniture in the Waterhole Bar was below the standard that we would expect. So my team and I managed to successfully lobby the university to put in temporary furniture, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen. I'm really happy with all the things that we've achieved together with my team, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
Hiya, my name is George and I am your Vice President for Education and Democracy. This year I ran on a manifesto pledging 3 separate points. So I wanted to start up a political speaker series bringing in high profile politicians and influential speakers from across the political spectrum onto the university. I'm really happy to say that we already have one date confirmed with talks ongoing with a few other speakers. We've also have an established name and we're currently establishing a brand as well, and I'm really excited to launch all of this at the start of the next teaching block. Secondly, I pledge to put control of your timetabling back in your hands. I'm really happy to say that myself and Violet have been working on this quite a lot, and we have established a working group alongside the university to look at issues surrounding particularly flexibility of timetables. We're going to be looking at how other universities across the sector do this, in particular Manchester and Buckingham, and also using other potential technological solutions to help achieve this. Thirdly, I pledge to start a book buyback scheme to help students with the costs of buying their core textbooks. I'm glad to say that we started a Facebook group at the start of this year that has been very active with over 400 members. We're hoping to use insights from this group to formalise it into something slightly more concrete at the start of the next academic term. This has raised other questions surrounding the hidden costs of studying, and it's something that I will delve a lot deeper into as the year goes on. I'm already in talks with one faculty to start a transparency project within there to allow students to see exactly where their money is going and how their money is being spent. On top of this, I've also got the Portsmouth Students' Union back involved with the annual Remembrance Service in Portsmouth. I've been working in conjunction with the university, and this year the sabbatical officers laid a wreath alongside the Vice-Chancellor at the Remembrance Service in Guildhall Square. I'm also excited to be attending the annual NUS conference in Glasgow once again, and I've been working on motions to submit alongside other universities to make sure that Portsmouth students are represented on the national scale.
Hi, I'm Sophie Butler and I'm your VP Welfare and Community for this academic year. I ran for this role on my manifesto points, which were to raise awareness of mental health, drug harm reduction, sexual harassment, as well as creating free self-defence classes for students, increasing vegan options, and creating an anonymous forum where students can talk about any issue. So far in this role, I have started free self-defence workshops, which will be run monthly in the form of Krav Maga. Students who also attend these sessions will get offered the Sport and Rec 5-week self-defence course at a discount of £20. I'm working really closely with Charlotte Beanie, VP Sports on Alcohol Awareness. We have made a link with Alcoholics Anonymous, where we attended an event in Parliament in London, and then we put on an event on November the 13th, where 3 people from AA came and spoke about their experiences with alcoholism. We also had a University of Portsmouth lecturer involved with this. We believe this event was really successful and eye-opening to students. I have taken over Amber's drug harm reduction campaign that she started last year. I've had close conversations with Portsmouth City Council, and after these conversations, we realised that we weren't given sufficient advice out with the drug testing kits. So at the moment, these are currently on hold. However, I'm working closely with the Recovery Hub, which are located on Elm Grove, to see how we can move this campaign forward and how we can potentially bring back the drug testing kits. They are providing a training to staff and students. With relation to mental health awareness, I'm currently researching what other unions are putting on to see what will be most effective for Portsmouth. In the new year, on the first week of February, we have Time to Talk Week. On this week, I'm hoping that we can have a Purple Wednesday event for Solent Mind. Later on in the year, we have the Stress Less campaign, where each sabbatical officer are taking part and moving forward with a project. For example, mine is Walk and Talk and Arts and Crafts. I'm currently the champion of some of the Have Your Say ideas. For example, improving security around campus, such as the Ravelin Park lighting and having a rape support network. I'm in contact with the relevant staff and students to get these projects lifted off the ground, and I can't wait to see where we go with them.
Hello all, my name is Moises Frias and I'm the current VP of activities for this academic year. One of the activities that I've done so far is the Black History Month Social Mixer, which was an opportunity for students to learn more about the Black attainment gap and also socialize with other students. They also had the opportunity to learn more about the things that we're doing as a university and with the community to address those inequality issues. I am also working with other sabbatical officers researching about mental health awareness campaigns. Mental health is obviously important for all of us. However, I would like to address mental health in men. Why? Because according to NHA's data, men are far less likely to seek help and seek advice. Alongside the university's career and employability surveys, I would like to conduct an employability workshop, which will be an opportunity for you to learn about CV and cover letter making, mock interviews, and application form tips. This will be conducted with the support of external employers, which will be an opportunity for you to learn about what skills they're looking for in an applicant. Some of the things that I'm doing currently is, next week I will hold the trials for the University Challenge, where I'm looking for 5 participants to go and compete with other universities. Also, I'm championing a Have Your Say idea, which will improve the room booking system for our societies. And lastly, I would like to do postgraduate and research events for next term. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Bean and I'm your VP Sport. This year I've been working on a handful of projects alongside my manifesto points. My first manifesto point was to build an outreach programme with local schools and our sports clubs. I currently have 2 students from 4 different sports clubs undergoing their DBS checks in preparation for their qualifications that will be taking place in the next couple of months. This will be in light of them going into the schools in February to coach a series of workshops and lessons to the schools. My second manifesto point was to build a Give It a Go week in January. After the success of the Give It a Go week in September, we thought we should host another for the students that come in January and also the students that didn't get the chance to trial this year. I'm in talks with the projects department at the Students' Union to get this underway. My third manifesto point was to create links with the CCI department to get them to come in and film some footage of our sports clubs competing, training and also participating in charity work. I currently have a meeting booked in to get this going and to ensure that we have a videographer to make a film at the end. As well as my manifesto points, I've been working on some other projects. I've recently got the Blankstone buses back up and running and have carried on the legacy project from last year with the DSES department. I have facilitated multiple placement students within the AU within the sports clubs. This has been a great success and we've seen an increase in the amount of students participating from last year. On top of this, I've been looking at the welfare of our students. I'm implementing a welfare or a wellbeing officer into each sports club by the end of the year that will all be Speak Up and Step Up trained. As well as this, I'm running a host of alcohol awareness projects, which started with my Alcohol Anonymous event that I worked with the VP Welfare for at the beginning of this month. Thank you for listening.
So this is your opportunity to hold your sabbatical officers accountable. Unfortunately, Sophie, your VP Welfare, couldn't make it today. However, we will attempt to answer as many of your questions as possible. If you have any that you want to direct to Sophie, then please do ask them and we'll see if we can answer them. So are there any questions from the floor for individual sabbatical officers or us as a team, anything like that? No? Okay, brilliant. So this isn't a voting matter, so this is just for you guys to note what your sabbatical officers are doing. So first of all, we've got the UAB introductions and reports. Basically, I'll be introducing you guys to our new look union actioning body and update you guys on your progress, campaigns and recent decisions. I also believe we have a few UAB members here today. I know Matt, give it a wave. Anyone else from UAB here? Give a wave. Wave over there as well. Cool, so we have a few. So I'll just present this one to you guys. This isn't for voting, this is just for notes so you know what's going on with our new union actioning body. To those of you who do not know what UAB is, it's one of the main decision-making bodies of the union, and they're used to bring forward and support student campaign ideas and to bring about a positive change to union policy. The most obvious change to UAB membership is the removal of student officers and their replacement with the brand new student networks. For a bit of context, we undertook an extensive democratic review process in 2016, and the results of which told us that the students' officer system simply wasn't effective. We were experiencing low engagement, and several of the officer positions were regularly going unfilled. To remedy this and to ensure that liberation areas and different modes of study are still fairly represented at UPSU, we have introduced the student networks. These networks have been set up to cover the following areas: BAME students, gendered issues, global students, part-time and distance learner, and postgraduate and mature students. These new networks will work to create a community in previously underrepresented areas of the student population and become key to making positive change in the student experience. These original 5 networks were established by our sabbatical officers using data supplied by Insights. This data identified these 5 areas as our worst in terms of representation, and therefore we decided that they should be the first ones that we set up. The intention is to create more according to student demand, so if there is an area in which representation is deemed to be lacking, we can create a new network to cover that area. You can follow the activities of our networks and any student campaigns that they bring forward at either the UAB or the network's webpage on the UPSU website. UAB also consists of 2 representatives from each faculty who look out for their students' academic issues, 2 union zone chairs who represent the interests of our sports teams and student groups, and the UAB chair. Unfortunately, this report isn't quite as exciting as the sabbatical officer reports, as UAB have only had 2 meetings so far this year, and have only been active for just over a month, so there is not an awful lot to report on. The body has, however, voted on some important issues and have brought several campaigns forward that will be starting properly in the new year. These ideas include the purchase of rainbow laces for sports teams in celebration of Pride. This was met with unanimous support and should be implemented in the new year. Timetabling alterations to allow for sports fixtures on a Wednesday, which is championed by our very own VP Sports, Charlotte Beanie, and changes to the university bus service, particularly increasing provisions for, lobbying to increase provisions for weekends and in the evenings. Our members are also currently working on leading a Portsmouth-based Brexit march, reducing the prices and increasing the availability of healthy food on campus, and introducing a faculty wars event designed to promote greater interaction between the university faculties. If you want to get involved or have a campaign of your own that you want to be brought forward, then you can use the Have Your Say platform online or contact a representative yourself. Do check our webpage and speak to us after the session. So that was item number 9. I want to move swiftly on to item number 10, which is a voting item, which is drug detection in halls. This motion is going to be just briefed and presented by our VP Activity, Moises.
So hello everyone. I will talk to you about item number 10, which is the drug detection in halls. And just to give you a brief background, there was a report published by the NUS in 2018 of about 2,810 students, where 56% of the students said that they have used drug at some point. Of those, 94% said that they've used cannabis, but that also includes, in lower numbers, MDMA, ecstasy, and cocaine. Of those 56%, 48% said that the use of drugs had affected their attendance in some way, and around 27% said that the drug affected their health. The union believes that though the enforcement of this policy will be impractical in private accommodation, the taking of drugs and illicit substances should not occur in halls or student accommodation. Also that to best protect the academic performance, of university students, harsher enforcement of a zero tolerance to drugs approach is required. And lastly, that the university and students' hall providers are not doing enough to ensure the safety of students residing in the students' halls. And sometimes they ignore and fail to prevent drug use in their premises. The resolution is to lobby the university and student halls to undertake drug detection measures, such as sniffer dogs in the student halls. Thank you.
So just a little bit of background about the special items. So sometimes AMM does receive special items such as this, and this is basically for you guys to vote on, whether you want to approve the union to lobby the university for drug detection measures in halls or disapprove. So please do vote on your pink sheets now. If you're at home watching online, then please do vote online there as well. Do we have any student questions at all? Just wait for the mic to come to you.
Hi, how does this, feels like it's counterintuitive to the drug harm reduction campaign, where the basis around that is that we're not judgmental, that we understand that people may take drugs, but we're working to reduce harm through that campaign. And now it seems like this is quite intrusive. It seems like they counteract each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As chair, obviously, I have to take a neutral standpoint, so I can only give you guys background information to the motion. Essentially, there were unofficial rumblings in the university about these kind of measures. We just wanted to see what the student feel is for us lobbying the university or supporting the university if this ever does go into place. So that's why the motion was submitted. Any other points for or against? Yeah.
Well, we both want to ask what other methods they'd use. So there's sniffer dogs, but would it be anything else?
So yeah, would it just be the sniffer dogs, or is there actual campaigns to reduce, or create drug awareness?
Well, I know just outside of this motion that Sophie has been working on that drug harm reduction campaign that was mentioned earlier. So there have been, I know she's also working on a Narcotics Anonymous event coming in as well. There are other things coming in that the union are doing to deal with this issue. However, I don't know the details. This will be something that the university do. So like I said, this is for, so the union know whether we should back the university if they do plan on going ahead with this, or whether we should not. Again, I don't know the specific of what kind of drug detection that they might use. Question at the back there. Tom? Oh, you guys got more? Oh, do you want more?
Yeah, sorry. I just have another bit as well.
Sure.
Like, if you do find drugs in someone's place, what happens then?
Again, that will be something that the university would decide. I don't have details. This isn't something that we are going to be doing. It's whether we're going to be supporting the university in what they do or not. Like I said, I don't know exactly how they would implement it. This is all unofficial kind of rumblings that we've heard. It's not something concrete, so unfortunately, I can't answer in any great depth on that one. Just got a question at the back there, this last one.
Which one?
At the back there. Yeah.
Okay. So how would you measure the success of this special item?
Presumably the success will be measured as whether the university does install these kinds of measures into halls. I guess that would be the success. If it does pass, if this motion does pass, it will be whether the university have undertaken drug detection methods. It does say example sniffer dogs. However, there's lots of different
I mean,
ways
whether the sniffer dogs are successful or not.
Whether they're successful or not. This isn't part of the motion as to how we're going to judge how successful it is. This is just a lobby to bring in drug detection measures. Again, this will be something the university would put down more concretely if they do decide to go ahead with something like this. But like I said before, it's not confirmed that they're even thinking about it. It's just things that Sabatkow's team we've heard about and wanted to poll student opinion on. Okay, brilliant. Unfortunately, we don't have any time for any more questions, so please do vote on your pink slips or at home. If you're at home, vote online. Are we going to move to the break now? Pizza's arrived? Yes. Yeah, no, the motion is for the SAB team to deliver as to whether the union should support the university if they do decide to develop this. This isn't something that the union is going to be funding and pushing for themselves. It will be something that we support the university in doing if they decide to do this. Okay, now on to the results. So for the first voting item, which was the previous minutes, there were 136 votes cast, 31 abstentions, 102 to approve and 3 to not approve. So the previous minutes item passes. The second item was the UPSU financial report. There were 126 votes here, 13 abstentions, 109 approvals and 4 not approvals. So the UPSU financial report passes as well. The third item was the SUT financial report, where 126 votes were cast again, 19 abstentions, 104 to approve, and 3 to not approve. So that passes. The next item was the NUS referendum. 126 votes were counted there, 46 to approve and 67 not to approve, with 13 abstentions. So that's rejected. The anti-female genital mutilation campaign, 126 votes were submitted, 106 for approve, 7 for not approve, and 13 abstain. So that passes. The free education motion, 126 votes were submitted, 105 to approve, 8 to not approve, and 13 abstentions. And finally, the drug detection, there are 148 votes cast, 79 of those to approve, 60 not approve, and 9 abstentions, which the drug detection motion passes. So that's all the voting results, guys. If you can hand in your quizzes and everything at the end. Thank you so much for coming along, and hopefully we'll see you again at the next union event. Thank you.